women of their constitutional rights, and he is flat out breaking the law. Later on in the show, we're going to hear from two women who had abortions. Randy, let's start with you. You have been arrested 30 times for your anti-abortion protests. Do you think women really need to be rescued?
Yes. Legalized child killing is no friend of women. There's a growing number of women who are finally coming out of the closets, regretting the fact that they had their child killed, that they were exploited for someone else's monetary gain. But beyond that, there are children. Half of them are women, half of them are men, little boys, little girls in the uterus that are being ripped out limb from limb or poisoned to death. And this is nothing more than a biological holocaust, and we are intervening on behalf of these babies and these mothers who are in an hour of crisis.
I would take exception to that, Randy. I think that's an extremely patronizing way to look at women. Under the view that you've espoused, women are incapable of making moral and conscientious decisions, following their own moral principles, their own religious beliefs.
Well,
what you're trying to do is impose upon this entire society the very narrow religious beliefs of one very extreme segment.
Well, you're picking up the NARAL rhetoric of narrow religious stuff that was with your group from its foundation. We have people who are Christians, people who are Jews, people who come from no religious background who believe it's wrong to murder innocent children. Before, you know, you speak as if child killing was a long heritage in this country's history. It's a recent phenomenon for it to be legal to destroy an innocent child while it's in the uterus.
That's completely incorrect. Under the old common law, it was legal to have abortions before what they called quickening.
Yes, but how long ago was that? That was before the AMA realized that life started at conception.
The abortion was made illegal was that before there were septic procedures, before there was antiseptic anesthetic.
That is not true.
Many women were dying from abortion.
That is
and
not true.
Abortions were therefore made illegal.
The AMA lobbied individual states all across this country because they realized that life started at conception, not at quickening.
No, that is not correct. There is no standard medical view on when life begins.
That's not true.
The legal doctrine is that there is no protected person under the Constitution until birth.
Person. There's a difference between person and life.
I respect, Terry, Randy, I'm sorry. I respect, Randy, your strongly held religious beliefs. What I'm asking of you and what we at NARAL ask is that you respect our religious beliefs, our moral beliefs.
Again,
we are only trying to assure that women maintain the ability to make choices, to follow their own religion.
I understand that.
But
you said that it's a religious belief, so you're painting it in religious words to try and polarize people. That is religious bigotry.
Randy, can I ask you to just hold that thought for a sec?
I was wondering, even if the choice of abortion is only a moral decision, in a country as diverse as the United States, especially where polls show that more than half the people believe that women should have a right to choose, whose moral beliefs do you want to impose through law on the country?
Who's that question to?
I'd like to make a point here. In this country, we do not impose upon dead people an obligation to donate organs to save live human beings. We do not impose upon live people an obligation to donate blood marrow or a kidney to save another live human being. Why then do we consider a pregnant woman to be somehow less than a dead person or another adult human being, and to make her donate her body to keeping a fetus alive for a period of time?
First of all, well, to answer this gentleman's question, all law is the imposition of morality. A speed law is saying that you cannot go over a certain amount in your car.
That's not moral, that's public safety.
Well, there's public safety involved for these little babies, Nancy. Why don't you and all of your cohorts in the pro-abortion movement show some of the American people a dead baby? Why don't you show them the products of conception that your doctors are ripping limb from the mother's womb?
The problem, Randy, is you are so focused on the fetus that you are unable to see the woman.
That's not true. We have how many homes from one mothers does NARAL have? My question to Nancy was, how many homes from one mothers does NARAL run? We operate one. Does NARAL run any?
Question.
That's not the role.
Do you run any crisis pregnancy centers?
That is not the role of NARAL in the world.
Well, if you're so interested in giving choice to women, you would give them the choice to carry their child to term when they're in a crisis.
NARAL, in fact, supports
Nancy, when he says NARAL, will you explain to us
the National Abortion Rights Action League.
Okay.
We at NARAL, as opposed to many in your group, support legislation that would give women the full range of options. We support the Family and Medical Leave Act.
Questions here.
I just have a comment. I work at an abortion clinic through choice. I am sick of being harassed by pro-lifers who choose to stand behind a religion, behind something that uses fear and very incorrect information. I am sick of hearing it. I am a woman. I will fight you all the way to have the choice over my body and my life. If I choose to abort or not to abort, it is my choice, and nobody should have the right to tell me what to do, and I will be the one to answer when I meet my neighbor.
When we return, a woman who had an illegal abortion will hear how she feels about anti-abortion rescuers.
Do I look like dinner for a guy like you? I'm a one-course meal. You want the whole kit and caboodle. It's a new dining experience. Come here. Look at all these shapes and 5 yummy flavors plus stuffing. You see any stuffing here?
New Kit and Caboodle brand cat food. So many shapes and flavors it makes other meals seem downright mousy.
Cats.
Have you seen those ads with the chairman of Montgomery Ward where he says that for some time now they've been reducing prices, 10,000 prices, permanently? They solved my shopping problems. See, now I can get low prices on top brand names any day of the year. Plus, if I find an advertised sale-priced item for less anywhere else, Montgomery Ward will match it. So you see, no matter what, I'm set. That's why I'm right here, right now.
Montgomery Ward, the brand name savings store.
On the next Cosby Show, Theo butchers a Thanksgiving tradition.
Car, not hat.
And Cliff fears foul play.
Let me explain to you how you should slice the turkey. Why are you talking like that? I have no idea.
We're talking turkey on The Cosby Show.
Monday at 5:30 on TV3.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off, the clapper.
Let you turn things on or off from anywhere in the room. Just plug in the clapper and a television, lamp, stereo, almost anything you want to clap on and off.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off, the clapper.
The Clapper is available at Woolworth and participating Ace, True Value, and Service Star hardware stores.
I think it goes without saying that with the new administration, the Supreme Court may be asked to reopen the question of whether abortion should be legal in the United States. One fear is that if abortion does become illegal, women will resort to back alley abortions. Abortions became legal in the United States, correct me if I'm wrong, 1973, Roe versus Wade. Joining me now is Cecile. She had an illegal abortion. That would mean it would have to be prior to 1973, actually 40 years ago. Could you tell us, because there's a whole generation of women who might not have known what that was like. Could you tell us about that, Cecile?
Let me predicate it by saying that most of you here can't remember those days because you weren't even alive. Those among my generation will remember. In 1946, I had a 5-year-old son, an 11-month-old daughter, and I found that even though I was using contraceptive, I was pregnant. I spoke with my husband about it. One did not speak to one's friends. It was just not discussed openly as it is now. I spoke to my husband about it. He said, the decision is entirely yours. I decided I had 2 children, a son and a daughter, and that should be it. This was post-Depression, post-World War II. I had to go, sub rosa, to 5 different doctors before I finally was told, here is part of an address. You call me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I will give you the rest of the address. Go alone. Bring $800 in cash. Do not bring your husband or anyone else. Of course, the following morning, I got the address, Somehow or other, we scraped together the $800. I said to my husband, here is the address. If I don't show up by noontime, come chasing after me. I was scared. I ended up going to an apartment on a main avenue where a woman in white, whether or no she was a nurse, I don't know. May I have the money, please? She led me through the apartment to the back of a kitchen where I was put on a table, and a man with a mask performed the abortion. I can remember to this day the smell of my blood coming out when he did the scraping. In those days, it was done by a D&C or scraping. Now most of them are done in the early stages by what is called a vacuum curettage. I was told when the procedure was finished, rest on this bed, which had been used by previous people, for about 20 minutes, then walk down one flight of stairs, take the elevator to the main floor. There'll be a taxi waiting at the corner. Tell the taxi driver where you want to go. I went home, and I can tell you, I was upset, and not knowing what would happen to me afterwards.
I want to know if, Randy, have you ever been pregnant, and can you actually relate to any of these women?
Have you?
The lady in the middle, are you married?
I'm here to talk about public policy, not my personal life.
Would you kill your own child?
I don't know how I would make that choice if I were facing it. It is very important to me to know that that choice would be available to me if I ever faced it.
I'd like to speak as a mother of two who, after 2 children, decided to have an abortion. And there are some other elements other than just whether or not to bring another and an unwanted child to life, but also the fact that our planet, and we are planetary citizens, is overpopulated, and that too many unwanted children are being abused and neglected, and I think that that's a factor we have to consider as well.
I'd like to respond to that.
Tell you what, Sally, let me take a break. Randy, when we come back, I'll let you answer it. There were 20 million abortions since 1973. If those children had been born, as this woman says, we'll ask you what 25 million unwanted children would have done to our society. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Caffrey toothpaste decaffeinates your smile.
Coffee and tea can stain your smile, like they stain your cup.
Caffrey gets out coffee and tea stains better than the leading toothpaste. Caffrey toothpaste or Minty Gel. Caffrey decaffeinates your smile.
People always say it's the thought that counts. So JCPenney thought it would be nice if you could exchange any JCPenney gift at any one of our 1,400 stores without giving it a second thought.
Smarter than ever, JCPenney.
Next on Gary Collins' Our Magazine.
He has finally convinced me that he really loves me.
Discover why more and more women are marrying younger men during Marriage and Family Week. We'll tell you why men lie, how to overcome the rivalry between your baby and your mate, and offer insight on the sandwich generation, raising your own family while caring for your parents, all during Marriage and Family Week. Discover Our Magazine Tuesday morning at 9 on TV3.
My hair needed life. Bounce.
For you, what about 25 million unwanted children?
Yes. I think that the question shows a barbaric hardening of our hearts as a culture. Because now, in a lot of the magazines I read where abortion is discussed, they talk very freely about the fact that I don't want this child. I'm talking about a woman who's pregnant. So we're actually saying with our mouth, yes, it's a child, and yes, we can kill it. That's barbaric. It's shedding innocent blood.
I am a mother, yes. And when I was pregnant, I felt, yes, my child was alive in me the moment I knew that I was pregnant. But I would not want that right taken away from me, the right to decide, should I have this child or not? And I would fight to the
That's
end.
what I'm saying. That is scary to me.
That's not what you're saying.
Yes, she's saying, no. I know what she's saying. My point is,
She wants the choice.
Everyone on
She
home
said
base.
no choice.
Wait a minute. Let
She
me
said she
introduce
wants the
to
choice,
you
which is what we all
Angela
want.
Henderson. Angela, a little bit about your story. You had an abortion because you were raped. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. What do you want to tell us about that?
What I want to tell you about it is that, first of all, is that I regret it. And I knew better because I had 11 years ago had a daughter that was supposed to be aborted. She was 2 days away from being aborted. I went to Right to Life in Santa Ana, California, and found out how far along she was, that at even 3 months old, she had fingerprints and a heartbeat. All of the things that measure life to scientists, that they would do anything to keep a person alive, that baby already had. And no one else had told me that. And I also thought it was my mother's decision, because I was so young, I was 16 years old, that she should decide what I should do with that baby. I found out that it was my legal responsibility and right to make that decision.
So, are you for Operation Rescue?
I certainly am. I work for them.
Okay.
I would like to know why you're concentrating so much on unborn babies rather than putting your efforts towards the babies that are born and left in the woods.
I'd like to ask the lady in the blue, wouldn't you, I would think that if you were married and you already had 2 children, I don't know how you could go through, why don't you just have it?
What gives you the right to judge another woman's decision?
But if that child was conceived through love, that child's supposed to be conceived through love, and she was using contraceptives, and nothing would stop her from getting pregnant, and she couldn't find a doctor, and she was so scared, and she had all this money that she had to scrape up. Why didn't you just have it?
Because I wanted to bring up 2 children who are now adults and parents on their own that I wanted to take care of properly from all angles. And we felt that if we had more, or I felt that if we had more, we could not bring them up properly and nurture them and care for them the way they should have been cared for.
I think it's wonderful that you were able to keep your child and that you were able to raise it in a good home and raise a happy 11-year-old. But, Randy, what you're doing promotes hatred. It promotes people. I mean, can you imagine? I want you to be the person that has a child inside of you that you're unsure about, and you need this information and you want to go and get it. But there's somebody standing out there, laying out there, being dragged away.
That's the
Wouldn't
point
you
I
be
was trying to
frightened?
make. I've been on both sides of that.
And then after that, what are the odds chances if you kept that child and you don't love it, you just kept it because you were out there stopping me from getting in?
Listen to me. You said, you know, we'll have more time if people stop clapping. There's more. You said the words again, a woman carrying a child in her. That's our whole point. People don't have a right to dispose of children they don't want.
I agree that it's a baby. I agree that it's a life. I cannot see there's 2 sides to the story, and I understand your point of view. But we have that choice. Right now, we have the opportunity to use it. And until the law is changed, you're telling a child, and that I know that it's not all children, but the people that I know are young, and we're confused. And we need this kind of guidance. We need both sides. We need to know. And then we need to make a decision. Not with you, but with my mother,
What choice does the baby have? What choice does the baby have?
Let's talk a little bit about Operation Rescue. Randy, some very quick, if I can get them, quick answers. Do you close clinics?
Yes.
Okay. What cities do you target, or how do you decide when you're going to target a city?
We as a national group have gone to several cities, but there are local groups springing up all over the country that are doing it, and recently there was one in the Connecticut area, Hartford.
Do you feel, Nancy, that what they're doing is been successful, shall I say that?
I guess it's
from their point
how
of
you
view.
define successful. From their point of
Are
view,
they closing clinics?
they are sometimes disrupting the operation of a small number of clinics, but they are not stopping patients from getting procedures performed.
That's
we
not
have
true.
been able, in almost every city where they have performed a demonstration, to refer patients to other clinics that are not being demonstrated, to get patients into the clinic using escorts, as you saw in the clip that you showed at the beginning of the program, and to get the police to clear away the protesters so that the clinic can reopen. They have not stopped abortions from occurring.
That's not true. We know of scores of women who changed their mind, who are pregnant right now, as a direct result of us sitting around the door. So the babies are alive.
Cecile, how do you feel about that, about Operation Rescue?
I would like to know what they have done with all of these babies that they have had. Are they taking care of them, or are they being abandoned in hospitals?
Angela? I would like to answer that. Everybody that I know that's involved with Operation Rescue, they are not bigots. They would take any child, no matter what race, no matter what the physical problems of the child were. Everybody I know that's involved with this organization does more than just sit at the gates.
Randy, you stated earlier that you felt that contraception was a woman's own choice.
Sure.
So what makes you think that it's your business for a woman to decide what she should do with her body and with her baby?
Because it's not her body.
Especially being a male.
Because it's not her body that's ending up... I'll answer the question. Because it's not her body that's ending up in a garbage pail.
That's right.
But it is
It's the baby.
that is at risk and that has to go through the...
By the way, I could have been aborted. I was an unplanned pregnancy when my mother was single. And I thank God that abortion was not legal when I was conceived. Right. 4 out of the 5 people in this room are all unplanned pregnancies.
You know, one thing I find very interesting, Randy, is that the majority of people that I have seen in Operation Rescue demonstrations are very
When
much
have you
like
seen them? I'd like to know about. Where?
Young
where were
white
you?
males.
Where were you?
Young white
Tell
males.
us where you were.
Who will never themselves
Angela's not a young white male.
Wait, Randy, Angela, let Nancy speak. Nancy.
The majority of the people who seem to be active in Operation Rescue, not all of them, I mean, obviously Angela's one case, but the majority are young white males who will never themselves face
It is not true. Is Randy Terry and Operation Rescue, are they dangerous?
Difficult question. I think that they are dangerous in the sense that they are trying to not allow women to invoke their own constitutional rights. I don't think that they are dangerous in the sense of swaying public opinion, because what we have found is that public opinion very much is turned off by the kinds of tactics that Operation Rescue is using.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. This is an argument that's going to go on, and one that I think is extremely important for us to hear. Therefore, I would like to thank all of our guests. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some members of our audience will receive, and a promotional fee has been provided by...
Advanced Formula Centrum, a high-potency multi...